Howdy, my name is Ahmed Ibrahim.
And my name is Ibrahim and
Our topic today is distributed energy sources. This assignment is for Dr. Kate Davis, Ecen 340 class at Ecen, Adam University, fall 2022. So first of all, to define distributed energy resources, many different forms of distributed energy resources are becoming more popular and acceptable. Rooftop solar panels, electric vehicles, natural gas generators, and other technologies are available. Rooftop solar panels are the most widespread and rapidly expanding kind of DER, but others include electric vehicles, small hydro and natural gas generators, biodigesters, and battery storage. Distributed generation, also known as on-site generation, generates electricity from sources near the user, and it takes the place of centralized power producing sources like huge power plants. Because it's created near to where it is consumed, distributed generation decreases energy losses during transmission. Microgeneration technology is used in distributed generating systems to generate power near the end consumer. They serve local peak loads while reducing the size and number of power cables required. So, what is the prevalence of distributed energy resources? The market for distributed energy generation will be worth 580.8 billion and is project US dollars and is projected to expand at the compound annual growth rate of 11.5%. Over the course of the forecast period, the market is anticipated to be driven by factors like rising environmental awareness, goals for greenhouse gas emission reductions, expanding government regulations, and rising energy consumption. Increased research and development efforts for the creation of new technologies are also anticipated to support market expansion. The installation of such systems in commercial, residential, and industrial residential applications is being encouraged by several government programs. DRs account for a small portion of total energy output, but they are growing increasingly frequent. Several causes are fueling its expansion. Lowering technology costs and government rules require corporations to reduce pollution. Let's move now to the advantages of DER. According to Federal Energy Management Program 2022, the advantages of distributed energy resources include reduced energy prices, system level capacity, operation reserves, distribution level capacity, and net worth to the grid. Electricity has always traveled in a single path, from producer to transmission lines through distribution firms to the user. This system is rapidly evolving nowadays at networks update. Distributed energy resources are small-scale power generating and storage devices that fulfill a rising percentage of local energy demand and feed electricity back into the grid. So what exactly is the big deal? What do distributed energy resources imply for the organization? This article delves into the difficult topic of DER, its advantages, and how Energy Watch can assist enterprises in acquiring and managing DER. So first of all, a greater efficiency and less waste than centralized power generating sources due to the generators being closer to energy users. Renewable energy sources such as solar and wind may be utilized in a distributed generation to create electricity in homes and businesses. Because several tiny microgrid units fail less frequently than a single big unit, distributed energy systems are far more dependable than centralized generation systems. Furthermore, the repercussions of failure are far less severe in tiny units than in big ones. DER provides us with several opportunities. They can provide net value to the electrical system by eliminating infrastructure expenditure, enhancing resilience, and increasing renewable energy integration. The following are four more advantages. So first of all, let's talk about the reduced energy expenses. When DR replaces the requirement to create energy from another source, it adds energy value. This value is divided into two parts: avoidance of energy production through resource generations and avoidance of transmission and distribution system circuit losses. Eliminating line losses lowers organizations' energy expenses. So second of all is system level capacity. DR adds value to the system by postponing or eliminating investment in generating the transmission assist. The peak DR use capacity determines the value of the DR system capacity. Third of all is reserve operating. DRs, rather than central generators, provide operational reserves when they may be developed to boost the grid supply or decrease demand in the case of an emergency, such as a forced outage. Lastly, distribution level capacity. When postponing or avoiding investment in distribution assets, DR gives distribution level capacity values. The value of the DR distribution capacity is determined by the DR's local peak utilization capacity.
Why should energy resources be decentralized? Furthermore, UNISCAP reported that the rooftop solar panels are the most prevalent and fastest growing kind of DR, but others include electric vehicles, small hydro and natural gas generators, biodigesters, and battery storage. Although distributed energy resources represent a modest portion of total energy output, they are critical to the clean, resilient future many politicians and voters desire. We expect obligatory emissions limitations on companies and buildings to become increasingly widespread as the Biden administration develops climate policies and seeks to cut US emissions, contributes to meeting emissions objectives while lowering emissions. Expanding resources. Several causes are fueling DR growth. For starters, technological prices are decreasing as with solar panels, more firms are embracing DR as it becomes more commonly utilized, and manufacturing advances reduce the cost of using DR. Businesses are becoming more concerned about the environmental effect and are attempting to cut CO2 emissions by utilizing renewable energy sources. Finally, increasing regulations require business to reduce their emissions. According to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, DR technology is expected to contribute approximately 65,000 MW by 2024. The cons of distributed generation. Firstly, individual dispersed generating units take up space and are near customers, causing land use issues and being unattractive. Microgrids face several requirements that require more work to meet. For example, microgrid owners must regard cybersecurity as a major regulatory problem while collecting personal data from consumers. Distributed power production system based on fossil fuel combustion can have the same impact as big and small fossil fuels fired power plants. However, they are positions closer to population centers. Some distributed generating systems are ugly or cause land use concern. Distributed power generating methods that use combustion, particularly fossil fuel combustion, can have many of the same effects as big fossil fuel fired power plants, including the use of fossil fuels, pollution of the air. The influence may be less pronounced than that of major power plants, but it may be closer to heavily inhabited regions. Water may be required for steam generating or cooling in some distributed power generating systems such as waste incineration, biomass combustion, and cogeneration. Distributed power generating system based on combustion may be less efficient than centralized power plants due to economics of scale. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation.